Hey, it's Colby. Welcome to another video, and I've got kind of breaking news for you. Kind of an interesting developing story going on right now out of Africa. It looks like Starlink has turned off roam services in all of Africa. Now, I haven't been able to confirm whether existing roam customers have been completely shut off, but I can confirm that you can no longer buy Starlink Roam or activate a kit on Starlink Roam in any country in Africa. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at that situation, see what's going on, and kind of speculating as to why Starlink may be making this move. I started seeing social media posts this morning roll in about how to change your service plan from residential to roam, or how to buy roam in Africa. And I started kind of seeing a lot of these, and that prompted me to kind of look into it a little bit more. And I got onto the Starlink website and noticed that you can't actually buy Starlink Roam if you live in a country in Africa anymore, which is totally different than what we had just 24 hours ago, where Roam was kind of like the main service plan there because so many countries in Africa are not yet approved for Starlink. So let's take a look at the Starlink website real quick and see exactly what's going on. So this is a map of the continent of Africa, and you can see most countries are unapproved at this time. These darker shades of blue mean Starlink is not currently available there. These lighter shades, though, it is available either for residential or roam services, at least previous to today. So countries like Nigeria, for example, Zimbabwe, you could order Starlink Roam in these countries. But now if we go to the Starlink website under the Roam page, the first thing you have to do is select which country you're trying to order Starlink Roam for. And if we go down, we no longer see any of these African countries. We don't see Zimbabwe on there. We don't see Nigeria. We don't see any countries in Africa on this list anymore. And that means that officially Starlink is no longer selling roam services to countries in Africa. That's a pretty big development, and I think it was worthy of a little update video because I think it's going to confuse a lot of people. I don't think Starlink has actually announced this anywhere. I haven't seen anything official from Starlink. I'm just seeing questions on social media pour in, and that's how we first learned about it. So kind of an interesting situation. Not sure if that was intentional, maybe it's a bug with the website. We'll have to just wait and see. But at this time, looks like if you're interested in purchasing Starlink Roam and you live in Africa, you're not going to be able to do that right now. I've also seen a few reports of existing Roam customers that said that they no longer have service, that they've been switched to a residential plan for their address and that they can no longer switch back to Roam. And that's a pretty big deal as well, because a lot of people were using Roam to kind of bypass the Starlink approval process. And now we're at the point in the video where I'm going to be talking a little bit about why I think Starlink might be doing this, the reasoning behind this. Now, I've talked about this in several previous videos, but in short, Africa has kind of been this controversial continent as far as Starlink service goes because not very many countries in Africa have officially approved Starlink, but there's so much demand there. So many people want high-speed, low-latency internet from Starlink. So the workaround that people have been doing is ordering Starlink in one of the few approved countries and then just taking it to another country where Starlink isn't approved. Now with the Roam service plan, previously you could travel within your home continent for as much as you'd like. So that's how people were getting around the official approval process. They were using these Roam dishes, these Roam service plans as home internet in a different country than they ordered it. So I think Starlink ultimately has decided to just cut off Roam completely for Africa to stop this workaround method. So in the countries where Starlink is approved in Africa, the only service plan that you'll be able to order is residential, and that only works at the service address that you register it for in the country that you registered it for. So you're not going to be able to take those kits to a different country and be able to use it because the residential service plan just doesn't work that way. What does this mean if you're planning to travel to Africa anytime soon? Well, your Roam plan does include international travel up to 2 months per trip, and Starlink specifically says that that is for approved areas. So if you're planning on traveling to a country in Africa with your Roam dish that you've activated in another country, or another continent, I should say, then you should be fine as long as you're going to an approved country. If you're going to an unapproved area, your Starlink services might not work there, and you might have to actually upgrade to the global Roam service to be able to access Starlink services in unapproved locations. For those of you that live somewhere in Africa that are trying to get Starlink Roam services, you're not going to be able to do that at this time. It looks like this change that has happened in the last 24 hours has totally cut off Roam or at least the ability to order and activate Roam services in any country in Africa. So if you're not able to purchase Roam and you're not able to change your service plan to Roam, that's why. Just wanted to make this video to give you an update on what's going on in case you were curious, in case you're running into some of the issues that I saw on social media. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below if you're affected by this issue. What do you think about my theory that, Starlink is just trying to prevent people from working around the approval process? They've kind of gotten in trouble for it a little bit with some of the governments in Africa, and maybe this is that next step. I know they've tried to increase prices and they've done some other things to prevent the workaround from happening, but it looks like this is like their final step, just completely cut off Roam services altogether. But that's going to affect a lot of people. So love to hear what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.